We will lay waste to armies and burn cities to the ground. Turn us away, and we will burn you first.
If we include Season 3 of House of the Dragon, that makes 6 Game of Thrones shows confirmed. We've got a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms and the Hedge Knight confirmed, and Aegon's Conquest is also in the mix. Plus, there's a prequel called 10,000 Ships that's set before the Targaryen conquest of Westeros and is in development. However, the most anticipated show is the Aegon's Conquest prequel. Here's everything we know about it. Even before Game of Thrones wrapped up, HBO was already gearing up for a big expansion of the franchise, and the spin-off Aegon's Conquest is finally starting to come together. Based on George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, Game of Thrones premiered on HBO in 2011 and quickly became a cultural sensation. Set in the fictional world of Westeros, the show delves into the power struggles and politics among major royal families as they fight for control of the Iron Throne. Martin's rich world building provided a deep lore that the original series only began to explore. Seizing on the show's success, HBO announced a range of spin-offs and prequels as the flagship series came to a close with its controversial final season. While many of these projects have fizzled out, House of the Dragon was a notable success. Now, Aegon's Conquest has finally moved closer to becoming a reality, marking a significant step in expanding the Game of Thrones universe. A few months after the writer for the new Game of Thrones spin-off was announced, there's been a fresh update on Aegon's Conquest. According to writer Mattson Tomlin's official X page, work on the script is already underway. Tomlin shared a photo featuring his writing tools alongside a copy of George R.R. Martin's Fire and Blood, which will be the inspiration for the series. However, there's still no set timeline for when we might see it on screen. Though Aegon's Conquest was initially announced in April 2023, it somewhat got overshadowed by other Game of Thrones-related updates. At the time, there were even whispers about a potential feature film to set up the series, but nothing concrete has emerged since then. By early 2024, the project was still in its early stages, with the main development being the hiring of a writer. The series is set to explore the legendary rise of Aegon I and his unification of the Seven Kingdoms under the Targaryen banner, alongside his wives Rhaenys and Visenya. This epic tale will unfold a century before the events of House of the Dragon, providing a stark contrast as it showcases the Targaryen dynasty's rise compared to the fall depicted in the earlier show. Despite the lack of detailed plot revelations so far, Aegon's Conquest promises to delve into one of the most pivotal eras in the Game of Thrones universe. This period is crucial as it significantly shapes the events that unfold in the original series, making it an exciting addition to the expanding lore. There's a strong chance that Aegon's Conquest will dive into the story of the first Aegon Targaryen, the Dragon Rider who, along with his sister wives Rhaenys and Visenya, conquered Westeros. Aegon, who was previously the Lord of Dragonstone, had a prophetic dream that revealed a Targaryen king or queen strong enough to unite the realm would sit on the Iron Throne and lead the fight against the White Walkers. For Aegon, the conquest wasn't just about power. It was a duty to protect the living from the looming threat of the dead. Although Aegon never managed to conquer Dorne during his lifetime, he succeeded in uniting 6 of the 7 kingdoms under his rule, forming one cohesive realm. With his dragon Balerion, his position on the Iron Throne, and his ambitious reconstruction of King's Landing, Aegon Targaryen established a dynasty that would endure for 300 years. He died of a stroke 37 years into his reign, but his powerful legacy lived on, inspiring many Targaryens to name their heirs after him. Game of Thrones later confirms that Aegon's dream was fulfilled, with his descendants uniting the realm against the encroaching cold and darkness. One character who might pose a significant challenge for Aegon Targaryen and Aegon's Conquest is Marya Martell, the formidable leader of Dorne. While Aegon's conquest of the 7 kingdoms was largely successful, Dorne remained a thorn in his side for decades. Marya Martell, also known as the Yellow Toad, led the Dornish resistance against the Targaryen invaders. Despite her unflattering nickname and less than ideal physical description in historical accounts, there's a chance that these descriptions might be skewed, reflecting the biases of the victors. Maria's resistance was characterized by her fierce determination and strategic prowess, making her one of the Targaryen family's most hated adversaries. To bring this complex character to life, actress Adriana Barraza would be an excellent choice. Barraza's impressive range and ability to portray powerful and nuanced characters could make her a standout antagonist, similar to how Olenna Tyrell was portrayed in Game of Thrones. Her casting would not only lend depth to Maria Martell's character, but also add a compelling layer of tension to the series. Another exciting Game of Thrones prequel confirmed to be in development is the story of Princess Nymeria of the Rhoyne. After the Rhoynar were devastated by the Valyrian Freehold, about 1,000 years before the events of Game of Thrones, Nymeria led her people to safety. It's said she commanded 10,000 ships to navigate the River Rhoyne and escape from Essos, though the exact number might be exaggerated. Regardless, it was an epic journey that highlighted her legendary status. HBO seems to be prioritizing Targaryen-centric spin-offs before delving into other areas of George R.R. Martin's extensive lore. Nymeria's story is one of the most celebrated in Westeros history, and it has a direct link to Game of Thrones through Arya's direwolf, named in her honor. Amanda Segel, known for her work on Person of Interest, is set to write the series titled 10,000 Ships. However, the rest of the creative team has yet to be confirmed. Much like the Sea Snake and the Golden Empire, this prequel has been in early development for some time. HBO appears to be focusing on safer, more familiar Targaryen-related spin-offs before exploring these deeper, richer aspects of Martin's world. Unfortunately, not every announced Game of Thrones series has made it past the planning stages. Hollywood is a place where ideas can come and go, and HBO is particularly selective about what it moves forward with. Here's a look at 3 spin-off shows that were once in the works, but have since been shelved. First up is the much-anticipated Jon Snow spin-off. Announced in June 2022, this series was set to follow Kit Harington's Jon Snow after the events of Game of Thrones. It aimed to explore Jon's life after his banishment beyond the Wall and his role in the aftermath of Daenerys' death. However, by April 2024, HBO had decided to shelve the project. Harrington revealed that the network and the creative team couldn't agree on a narrative direction, which made it difficult to move forward, especially given the controversial ending of the original series. Another project that never made it was Blood Moon. Announced in the summer of 2018, Blood Moon was set to explore events 8,000 years before the Game of Thrones timeline. With writer Jane Goldman at the helm and Naomi Watts in a leading role, the show aimed to delve into the Long Night and the early stages of the White Walkers. Despite filming an expensive pilot, HBO pulled the plug on the series, fearing it might repeat the mistakes of the original show by diving into another incomplete narrative. Lastly, there was the Flea Bottom spin-off. Set in the seedy, crime-ridden slum of King's Landing, this show would have focused on a gritty part of the city where several notable Game of Thrones characters, like Davos Seaworth and Gendry, originated. Though it promised to explore the underbelly of the Red Keep, the series was cancelled before it could be developed further, with no details released about what the show would have entailed. And that's that for today's video. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comments below.